Good morning or good afternoon. Actually, I think it's passed over almost. Yeah, it's over midday here in Australia. So good afternoon, beautiful leaders, beautiful souls. This is Anna T. Brooks, your psychic empowerment coach and earth angel. And I'm running a little bit late for this week's training. It's usually done in the morning on a Monday morning here in Australia where I am at the moment. But yes, I've had a lot of intense things going on. Some of you may have seen my post this morning. That was very much a soul download and just a total transparency and total share and total, intention for connection. So it's been very intense, and I know that this is something you guys are probably feeling as well. This full moon in Aquarius that's coming up. So this is going to be in just over 24 hours now. So it's going to be at about 2 p.m. here in Australia tomorrow, on Tuesday, which is going to be different times depending on your time zone, obviously. But yes, it's a very intense energy. There's a lot shifting. The planets are really realigning very powerfully at the moment. So I know a lot of us have been just feeling like, whoa, where the hell did that come from? And it's a different kind of energy, right? Where it's been a very draining, very demotivating, very backwards type of energy for a long time, I think, for many of us, myself included. This energy is hell intense, like so intense, but it's got a real momentum to it. It's got a real drive to it. It's got a real fire to it, even though like Aquarius is a air sign, even though it's the water bearer. It's like people get confused. I got confused as well. It's definitely an air sign, and there's a breath of fresh air going on, even though it's very intense. It's almost like the fire's been going one way and suddenly it's pulled in a different direction. It's still intense, it's still going, but it's going completely differently than you thought it was. And anyway, didn't mean to start this off with a massive ramble, but say hello if you're jumping on. Let me know if you're catching the replay as well. I'd love to know how you're going, how you're processing all of this, and how it's sort of sitting with you and everything. So let me just check. All right, cool. So I'm going to keep my phone next to me as well. All right, so let's get into this. So this is actually the second last one of these. So I'm going to have to come up with some new stuff to do for you guys afterwards, but this is the second last oracle card deck that I have to share with you. I do have more, which I mentioned at the beginning, that I do actually have a few more decks, but I don't really resonate with them, and I don't really care to, I guess, share about them. So I won't, because you guys know that if I'm not passionate about something, it's they're pretty much going to be useless to everybody, and the energies are just not going to be there. And you guys know that from your own stuff, right? So the last couple of decks that I'm going to be sharing, so today one of them and then one of them again next week. Today is the Angel Answers cards, and these are by Doreen Virtue and Radleigh Valentine. Doreen Virtue, you will remember if you've watched my previous ones from I think week 2 and 3 or week 3 and 4. I did 2 of her decks, which are just hers alone, and I actually spoke in the first one about her and about specifically, you know, her journey and a little bit about how I feel about where she's at now. So if you're interested to know, you know, specifically about the person who's done the deck and where they're at and where their intention is and everything like that, I really suggest going back to that first one, which you'll find in the announcement posts. There's a whole post in there and you can see the links for every single one. So the first one that you'll see come up by Doreen Virtue, jump into that one and have a listen to that one. So this oracle card deck I purchased actually further on. I already had about, I think 2 decks before I purchased this one. And it was really interesting because I actually remember I purchased it at like a fair, like a spirituality new age fair. And I just got called to it for some reason. And I'd seen them around before. I'd seen them used. This is quite a familiar deck that I think you'll probably recognize. It's used a lot and it's used very commonly. And it's just one that I kind of felt like, you know what, I want to have this deck. I didn't really feel like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the one that's going to like really give me massive insights and massive ways of development or anything, but I just felt like I needed to have it. And it was so funny because as soon as I got it, I didn't connect very well with it. I didn't really take the messages that well, and I'll explain a little bit about why that is when I go through. They're very simple, I guess. They're not the level of depth that I usually look for in a deck or in myself or in any of the work that I do, right? So I sort of used them a little bit, and then I just kind of put them away, and they've kind of just sat there as like something that you see, but you just keep avoiding, right? And I believe that everything, and this is just a bit of a side tangent, I believe that every deck or every tool that you use in your life, it comes to you at a particular time for a particular reason, but the evolution of that journey and the reason why it's actually come to you may not become apparent straight away, right? And I had a bit of like a resistance, not a resistance to this deck, but just like a bit of a whatever. And it came down to when I actually purchased it, the person who was selling it to me, the person who was doing the transaction, said to me, and this is so funny, like how much something little that someone says to you can really influence you. And they said like, oh yeah, so this is a really good starting, like this is a really good deck. A lot of beginners purchase this. And I'm like, I'm not a beginner. Like this isn't new to me. This isn't my first deck. And without meaning to, right, that sat with me for a bit, and it kind of made me feel like, oh, am I just like an amateur because I'm purchasing these cards? Does this make me like really, really daft and really like unconnected and just like, basic? And without meaning to, like I never said any of this stuff to myself, but I obviously did internalize it. And I think that affected that journey with this deck for myself, where I just didn't use them. I just didn't really use this deck very much. I would pull it out here and there, sorry, but just didn't feel really that connected to it. And so what it took, right, this journey for me with this particular deck was actually realizing where I really see the value in this, right? And this is where I guess, I'm going to explain a little bit more about the deck itself. So this is a very simple deck in the sense that it really is answers, right? This gives you very short, concrete, some of them are a little bit elongated, but they're very much kind of geared towards asking, say, like a yes or no question. Like, should I do this? Should I quit my job and start a new business, or should I stay at my work? Should I leave this relationship, or should I stay in this relationship? Should I, go and do this particular workout, diet, whatever it is, or should I do this one, right? It seems very simple, and it seems very surface level, and I think that's what I kind of shied away from. And what I found though is that this is a really, really amazing tool to use in parallel, in combination of and with other decks, right? As like for clarifiers. And so you probably would have heard this maybe in other readings, a clarifier. So it's when you have like a particular message, and then you have a clarifier which kind of digs deeper into, okay, but what's going on under there? What's really happening? And you see this happen a lot in like, I do clarifier readings as well, like especially like 3-card readings. I love doing clarifier type readings where there's a particular answer, and then like you pull different cards to kind of get to know what's going on and what's creating this and what's really at the root of all of this. And so that's where I find that these cards are really helpful of like a really concrete, straight up answer. But if you want to actually dig into it and kind of feel into it a little bit more, that's where clarifiers are really good. And that's where having other decks that you use alongside this is really powerful. And even in the guidebook itself, right? It's a small little guidebook. In terms of what it suggests of readings, it only ever suggests single card readings, right? It doesn't go into giving you like, okay, here's how to do it for a 3-card reading or a 5-card reading spread or whatever. It's only ever 1 card. And so I'm doing something a little bit different with it today, and we're going to see how it works. Because obviously I'm not going to be able to kind of do like a energy reading for the week with just a thing that could tell you like yes, no, maybe, kind of like kind of like those, what do you call it? The magic balls, the ones that like the black ones that you would like the magic 8 balls where you'd like shake it around and come up with an answer. It can kind of feel like that. So I'm going to show you a bit of the cards. So again, simple explanations, and you'll see that when I actually do the reading. Like as in, I'll show you in the guidebook, right? This is it. Like this is, that little paragraph is it, right? That little paragraph. It's very simple, and they're very big writing. You probably can't see there, but it's very big writing. So it's very simple things. And then in terms of the pictures, so the back of the card, all of them have this beautiful imagery on them, all of them, right? And in terms of the cards themselves, so they have a variety of colors, not too many. I think there's only actually 3 or 4 colors. I'll try and pull out some different ones so you can see what I mean. That one. Yeah, there's only like 4 colors or something. So what you'll see is they all have, like for example, this one says helpful people, right? So it's got an image on them, and then it's got like a border, and then you'll see like this next one. So again, it's got that same border, but with a different color. And that one says communicate clearly, right? And again, the image in the center. You've got another color here. So that was like a greeny color. You got like a purpley color here, which is listen to your intuition, which is actually same as that picture on the back there. Yeah. And then this one here, trust, which is kind of more of a blue. So that's basically it. Like the imagery of these cards is very simple. It's just, yeah, a picture, some sort of image in the middle, big words, the border, which is, yeah, same sort of border, just different colors on each of the different cards. Right. I don't find, personally for me, I don't find the imagery on these cards that, I guess, powerful for me. As you know, I would have shared quite a few different decks where I really talk about the power of the actual imagery in them and how you can really see things in there that stand out to you and that actually have messages for you as well. These are, you know, they're beautiful, and they're definitely, some of them have a little bit more, you know, things that it could be. Like this one, for example, says the situation will improve. And when you look at the card, you'll see there's like dolphins and stuff, and it's like a mermaid or someone, you know, swimming through water. So there could be something extra there to see as well, where you go, oh, okay, you know, the situation I'm asking about is going to improve. And then, you know, you happen to also be asking about, I don't know, something where that imagery of like a dolphin or water means something to you, right? So it definitely has that possibility, but generally they are, you know, more on the kind of simpler type of side of imagery. And then the explanations, like I said, also are very simple, which is why they work so well alongside a clarifier deck, right? So let me know if that makes sense, or if you have any questions about that. And cool. And yeah, so what I'm going to do, so like I said, I'm not going to be able to do a kind of weekly energy reading for the energies of the week, which is kind of why I guess I started the start of this live stream with letting you know that there is that full moon coming up this week in Aquarius, and that if you're feeling like everything's very intense, things are coming to a head, things are getting very interesting, that's not just you, that's generally the energies. And there's obviously a lot of information that you can look up on that. Like I would just suggest even just going through, you know, YouTube and everything if you're curious about the kind of astrologers, because I'm not an astrologer myself. I have very basic knowledge, I guess more than most people, but basic compared to people who study this very intricately. I'm very happy to share some of the people that I follow and that I really respect and love in the field. So yeah, I'm more than happy to share that. If you would like me, to pop down those details, just let me know. Feel free to comment down or send me a private message, and I can link you up with some of the YouTube channels that I follow. But what we're going to do today with the angel answer cards is I'm going to give you an option of 2 piles. Each pile is going to have 2 cards. So I'm going to do like a clarifying sort of thing within this deck. And like I said, I haven't quite done this before, but this is what came through to me before when I was kind of tuning into how I should do the reading this week. So what I want you to do is bring to mind a particular situation that's going on for you right now, It could be, you know, a relationship, it could be a business, it could be a business decision that you're making, it could be a housing situation decision that you're making. Anything that's going on in your life right now where you're like, I would really like some guidance on perhaps, you know, what's the best way forward here, right? So the best thing to do with these cards, even though sometimes the answers come out not exactly like this, I know that there is a lot of like yes and no type answers within the deck. So it does work best if you word your situation in terms of like, is it aligned for me to stay in this relationship and work on it? Is it aligned for me to now leave this relationship? Is it aligned for me to move forward in this way in my business? Is it aligned for me to use this week to take stock of things in my business but not actually move forward, right? That kind of wording where there's like a yes or a no that can come out of it, I find works best for getting real clarity on the situation. And obviously, because I'm doing this as a public reading for all of you, you're going to have to kind of take your own liberties with the message and everything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 2 cards for one reading and then 2 cards for another reading. So like pile 1, pile 2. And you think about your question, you think about the situation you want to ask about, and then you get to choose which pile you feel resonates with you more, and then I'll go through and actually do the reading. So you just basically choose a pile. Or you can also set the intention, if you have 2 situations, for example, and you feel like, you know what, one of these piles is really going to be for one and one is going to be for the other, you can do that as well, and you can kind of get, you know, 2 readings in one. But only if you feel called, right? Don't force it, because that's when you're going to get stuff that A, doesn't make sense, or B, doesn't feel good. So think about your situation, think about your kind of question, and make sure that you've worded it in a way where it's kind of like a yes or no answer can come of it. So, you know, is it aligned for me to continue to work on this relationship? Or you could ask the other way around, is it aligned for me to now move on from this relationship? Is it aligned for me to take this week to really recoup in my business? Or is it aligned for me to take a lot of action and really move forward in my business this week? That kind of stuff, right? So I'm going to shuffle while I tune in. So we shall see what comes forth. And any questions that you have as well, pop them through. I always do check back on the comments. I don't always reply to all of them because some of them are live, but yeah, I always do check back and answer anything that comes through. Okay, splitting the deck. That's the first one. And that's the second. Okay, so we've got the first pile, and now we'll do the second. Oop, there it is. That one wanted to come out. Okay. Second card for the second pile. Oop, there it is. Okay. All right, so we've got our 4 cards. So I'm going to hold up so you can see. So this is the 2 cards in pile 1. This is the 2 cards in pile 2, the back of them, obviously. So take a moment and tune in. Pile 1 is here. Pile 2 is here. And just tune in with your question. Close your eyes for a little bit if you need. And then when you open them, feel which pile you're getting drawn to. Pile 1, pile 2. Okay. Pile 1, pile 2. Let's start. So pile 1. Wow, okay, well this one is very clear, and I'm glad that I asked for the clarifier. So the first card that came out is no. Straight up no. The picture is, there is like a woman in the middle. You can't see it very clearly here, but you can sort of see the silhouette, and she's kind of surrounded by a halo. So the answer is no. And then the clarifier for, okay, well, why not? There's something better. That's the clarifier. There's something better. So this one you can see Again, a woman, I think she's holding a bunch of kind of flowers. I think she's got the angel wings going on, which makes sense because it's all angel answers, right? So let me read the true meanings in the book as well. So no, first of all, is very simple. Literally, that's your text for no. The answer to your question is no. You may gather additional information by asking another question surrounding this issue and drawing another card, hence why I've got there's something better. So this is what it says for that. Heaven has something wonderful in mind for you. However, it's not the same thing you have planned. Ask yourself what you would rather have, the very thing you're asking for or something that would make you much happier and more fulfilled. Sometimes God has joys in store for us that we could never imagine on our own. Open your mind and heart to the possibility that you deserve even more than what you're asking. Trust your angels to guide you in new and exciting directions. So that one's pretty clear. I feel like if you ask something, a situation around these two, like that's pretty clear that they want you to know that the answer is no. And the reason is that there's something better, right? And that's that trust, that surrender that comes through of wondering, you know, is this, can I have it that good, right? Can I even have it that good? And that trust that actually things can unfold in ways that you can't even imagine yet, right? Because the universe knows things and knows how to line things up for us that we can't predict, right? That we don't even know. That's the magic of co-creating with the universe. So there's a lot of trust and a lot of surrender required in this particular reading, but it's all because there is something better. It's because something else is lining up for you. So don't get too down on yourself, whatever it happens to be, because something better is coming along, right? Second reading, let's see what this is. Okay, interesting. Okay, so this is definitely less of a yes or no type answer. This is going to be, it's going to mean something to you if this is the deck that this is the pile you were drawn to. So the two cards that came up is ask your angels, right? So this is really calling on you to trust in yourself and trust in your guidance, right? This is asking you to go outside, go within yourself, basically. And then the second card for the clarifier is improving health. So it's almost like, well, if I ask my angels, what is it that they're going to help me to do? Improving health. And this can mean different things, right? So you got to read kind of sometimes behind the subtext. This could mean just straight up for somebody that they need to know, that they need to trust their intuition, they need to tune in because there's something they can do to improve their health, and they need to trust that and they need to ask their angels for guidance. It could be as simple as that. But it can also be, when you think of health, health is everything to do with us operating at our optimal level, right? So if we are operating at our optimal level in terms of energy, in terms of vibrancy, in terms of health, in terms of fitness, in terms of love, and in terms of connection, right? Because our mental health is really, really crucial, especially right now, right? That's the thing, is we have to tune in, ask your angels, what am I meant to do here, and trust their guidance because they're guiding you to that improved health. So let me read the actual the actual reading here. So ask your angels. Your angels are always with you. However, you must ask for their assistance in order for them to provide you with the help you're seeking, because heaven respects your free will choice. State your questions to your angels clearly. You can do so either out loud or silently in your own mind. Your angels will instantly help you according to God's will. Your angels may also have special messages for you about the situation you're asking about. Sit quietly in a peaceful place indoors or out in nature and ask for advice and guidance. Notice what messages come to you. It's possible the answers will come to you through feelings, hearing, or sight, or perhaps you will just know the answer. You can also ask the angels for signs during the day to guide you onto the right path, right? So a lot of being open to ask for help, right? And then improving health, what it says about this one is the angels want you to know that the health of the person you asked about is going to improve. You can request the assistance of Archangel Raphael and your guardian angels to speed along the recovery. This card may also be urging you to make more healthful choices in your life. If you're feeling called to detox from harmful foods or substances, you should follow that guidance. Removing unhealthy practices from your life will make you feel vibrant and strong. So that's in itself, I guess, a kind of answer. If you did ask more of like a, should I do this or should I do that? It's kind of already answering that for you, that the removal of harmful substances, the removal of harmful practices, of things that are no longer serving you and that are actually impacting your health, and that means your physical health as well as your mental health in a negative way, those need to go, right? And ask your angels for that guidance. Be prepared to just take some time for yourself and trust what comes through, and don't be afraid to ask for that help because you are actually supported. So that's fascinating. I love how different those two readings are. And I'd love to hear from you how those resonate. If you have any questions, if it kind of hits home for you, I'd always love to hear that. And that's it. That's it for the day. We're going to leave it there. So we've got one more week coming up next week where I share the final deck with you, and then we're going to jump into something different, and it's going to be really, really exciting, whatever it is. If you do have any particular topics, questions, trainings that you would like me to run, please feel free to pop them in. Who knows, I may end up going, yes, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'd love to support you on. So I'll leave it there. Have a beautiful week. Give yourself so much patience, so much love to just feel this energy and to flow with it. It can be really, really intense. But please know that we are in this together. We really are, all of us, right? And I'm holding space for you, and I'm sending you so much love, and I can feel it coming back to me as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a beautiful week, and remember, live life on purpose. Mwah.